Mr. Locario, you said a few things in the chat a few weeks
Mm,
back during the polygyny deep dive of the dating coach panel.
mm,
You disagreed with the guys saying that sleeping with lots of women hasn't left you empty. What
mm,
were some of the things that you disagreed with during that
mm.
polygyny panel, which the other guys here were part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, that was just one of the things that caught my attention, because I think it's a big thing a lot of guys say because what happens is that a lot of people in general put sex on a pedestal, right? And so what happens is that the reason why a lot of guys feel empty because a lot of guys will come from the let's say pickup artist community. I haven't had sex with women. I have a hard time getting girls. So then what happens is that once they start to find out, okay, I can get a girl, I can have sex, they go through this thing where they have a bunch of sex, a bunch of sex, and a bunch of sex. So after they have all this sex, they're like, damn, I feel empty inside because they were thinking that the sex was going to solve some type of problem. Or they think that the sex was going to be something that was going to make them happy because that's what they were searching for the entire time. So then what happens is that once they've had all this sex, they feel empty because they were expecting the sex to fulfill them. Right. And my thing is that sex is a great thing, but it's not special. So just enjoy the sex for what it is. You see what I'm saying? So for example, let's take sex out of the conversation. Let's replace sex with a cheeseburger. If I had a hard time getting cheeseburgers and I say, man, I really want some cheeseburgers. And I start eating a cheeseburger. I get access to the cheeseburger. And then I'm like, man, this cheeseburger is going to make me happy. I keep eating a lot of cheeseburgers. And then after I eat all these cheeseburgers, I still have the problems in my life, right? I still have issues with whatever I have issues with. I still feel some type of way about something, right? So I thought that when I attained this thing that I wanted so great, which is this cheeseburger, that was going to solve all the problems. But then once I realized that it doesn't, I feel empty because the expectation of what I wanted is not being fulfilled. So it's the same thing with sex, is that guys think that sex is going to fulfill some void. And what I'm saying is the reason why I never felt empty having a bunch of sex is because I was never looking for sex to fulfill me. I only had sex because I like the activity of sex. I enjoy it. It's pleasurable. And I use it for what I want. You see what I'm saying? So that's the thing. I think a lot of times the problem is this, attainment of sex is like, man, if I can get it, then it'll solve these problems. And once you do get it and you realize it doesn't solve the problems, that's where the emptiness comes in. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Any responses to that from you guys?
Yeah, actually, I'm not too far off from you, Mr. Lucario. I do think that there is a difference as a man who has had a great deal of sex. And
Mm,
again, I've only been in come to this revelation that was given to me, by God in my spiritual walk just a couple of years ago.
mm,
However, prior to that, I was changing my women like I changed my underwear. I mean, and I agree with you. I think that just like money, what I always say, money just amplifies what you already are. If you
mm,
don't have the correct ground frame and true desire to do good, it's just gonna again magnify what you already are.
mm.
So no, by all means, I don't. I agree that men who seek sex as a way of being able to deal with some of these issues, yeah, that's definitely not the way. However, I will go beyond that to say that there are several studies beyond what the detrimental effects are for men who sleep with just a lot of women who ultimately do not end up, looking to settle down and all of those things go from, and there's been countless studies and research on this. So all this is all verifiable and factual. Lower marital status satisfaction when you do finally do get married, higher risk of divorce, difficult forming a pair of bonds, reduced relationship commitments, higher rates of depression, lower life satisfaction in your midlife, increased risk of sexually transmitted diseases, obviously, economic and career underperformances, usually right around the age of 40, which I think we're kind of somewhere all around, higher all cause of mortality. There's just those countless things that I think that are can be ultimately detrimental to men. I know myself too, as a somebody who was once had the family establishment, with creating a family and then ended up divorced. I filled that void, like you just talked about, with a bunch of sex, and it was a temporary. It was like putting Band-Aid on cancer. It felt good in the moment, but what did I ultimately long for was to, again, seek that partnership with somebody or multiples in our scenarios for those of us that practice polygyny. And I can sit there and say that in the last, 4 years now, I've been with, just my wives, and I did have a couple, well, uh, people where I thought were going to be entering my life, and that didn't end up panning out. But
Mhm.
nevertheless, it was not nearly what I was doing before. And I've never been happier in the sense of having my wives who I can obviously perform my marital covenants with and have good sex life with as God intended. But again, we're talking about a religious standpoint versus a non-religious point. So we'll dive into that if it permits, but if not, we'll stick to the topic. And I think that ultimately for us, I would sit there and say that again, it is not in a man's best interest to just have a lot of sex. If, like you said, if that's where you're going with it, if you're ultimately trying to use it to fill your void for whatever it is that's in your life. So with that, I will open it up to anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, fundamentally, I don't have a problem with what Mr. Locario just said. I mean, sex is highly enjoyable. I'm a man with 11 children. I mean, imagine how many times there was, we didn't strike and have a kid. So you got to imagine, I absolutely enjoy sex. And I think also, by design, it's supposed to be like that. One of the things I tell the guys, or I used to tell, I'm not so active on social media anymore with like making content, but what I used to always tell the Muslim guys is like, stop stressing over women because you want them, but they want to be wanted. You want to get them and they want to be got. So it's like, everybody enjoys sex. I mean, I don't fundamentally, I don't have a problem with that. My problem in general is the ethical and moral, which comes from, like Mr. Maverick was talking about, is from a religious standpoint, in my specific case, Islam. And, when we start to look at like just the pursuit of pleasures and the lack of deferral of gratification in general in doing what comes easy and feels good, there's always going to be a detrimental effect individually and on a whole. On a whole, we see the problem in the society in general right now. I mean, society in the West is a mess. It's just absolute degeneracy. And we have to accept, even in this age of like solipsism and personal interests, that we do live in a society, and there is a significant degree of reciprocity and the need for us to behave in a way that's conducive to the furtherance of our society. And I don't think that going around, everybody's always so let me jump around here real quick. A lot of guys used to say, I want a wife, I want a good girl, I want a virgin, this, that, the other. And then at the same time, you see like guys going out and making a bunch of whores. You know what I mean? Um, so where do we draw the line at? Okay, I do want to pursue my personal interest, but at the same time, I live in a society. I like the society I live in. I want it to succeed. I want it to succeed for my children. I want it to be a good place for my children because none of us are gonna live forever. And we want to see the furtherance of that. So where in that do my actions, where my personal needs and desires, where I have to limit them at some point. This is my whole thing. And for me, obviously I can go further into, the Islamic perspective and standpoint on it, which recognizes the male desire for females and gives you the opportunity to marry up to 4 wives. It makes divorce easy, so that if you do want to divorce a woman, you can go out and divorce her and marry another one and whatnot. So there are options there. You find culture. Am I going too far out for you guys, or should I continue?
You mind
No,
if I
keep
jump
going.
in?
Keep going.
You mind if I
Okay,
jump in?
so
Let's just
let me say
tag
this real
in
quick.
Rob because he was a little
Okay,
late,
sorry.
and then we'll
All right,
jump
all
back to you. So Rob has joined us now. He's got one wife so far and a baby on the way, at least one. We don't know if they're twins or whatever, or
right.
triplets, or so on. Rob, want to give yourself a quick intro and respond to anything so far?
Sure. Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you good?
Okay, good. Cool. First off, good to meet you, Mr. Locario.
What's up?
How old are you?
I am 44.
Oh, you're okay. I thought you were like a young 20-something-year-old.
Nah, I just look good. It's the black. It's the black.
Okay.
I'm 53. Black don't
Is
crack.
it
That's
black,
what it
black
is.
don't crack?
Black don't crack. You know?
Okay.
I'm 53, man.
Well, I know at least two of us are older than you here. Maverick, how old are you?
42.
Okay, 42. So he's about your age. But I was going to say, like, I don't want to look at this as a debate because it's, I look at you and I'm like, I see myself probably. You know, there's a couple guys. I don't know what Craig, if you were promiscuous, but I know me and Maverick were big man whores. When I just want to speak to you like a friend or maybe a slightly younger brother, and just hopefully convince you of this is the better path. But I do expect you to push back and tell me what you believe. But I would. Well, let me just introduce myself first. My name is Rob Kowalski. I discovered the truth about biblical marriage, polygyny, that includes polygyny, a little over 2 years ago. I used to be a big man whore, slept with over 500 women. I was a club promoter and a stripper before I met Jesus, and then I believed in the monogamy only, doctrine. I didn't even question it, to be honest, and I assumed God was going to give me this unicorn at some point if I didn't sin long enough. So that led to me being abstinent and single through. It was about 18. It was a combined 18 years of 23 years of following Jesus. So I fell off and I went crazy for a while. But so I'm speaking to this subject as someone who's done both. Like I would say to Mr. Locario, we've done what you've done. You probably haven't done what we've done. So that's, just consider that. But I'll ask you the same question that I asked Rich Cooper when he was on my podcast. I said, do you believe in karma?
Yeah, of course. Karma is just really action. It's if I do this, like, so basically, if I work hard at my business, the karma is I get money. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's really all it is. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So a lot of people that don't, because it's hard to have a conversation if you're not a Christian necessarily, because I could say the Bible says this or that. And you're like, whatever, I don't believe the Bible. Okay. But most people believe the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Every religion basically believes that. So you got to think about these women, right? That they are someone's daughter, someone's maybe mother, sister, whatever. So like if you're using them for pleasure and tossing them back, because we all know in red pill, at least I hope you know, it does lower a woman's worth. The higher her body count goes. Nobody's going to want to buy that car. She's been giving it out for free. So we're literally lowering her value. Most people, again, in red pill, no female promiscuity is a big cause of a lot of the dumpster fire that we see nowadays. And the thing that I don't like about red pill is we see the world's burning, or they see the world's burning, and then they bring marshmallows. It's like they're keeping their hands warm versus manning up and let's say, okay, well, how do we fix this mess, right? And it's going to take some strong men with a voice like yourself to go, you know what? This probably ain't the right path. And it's not even that it's not the right path. Something I said on ICE's polygyny panel, I just think it's the better path. Because, look, it is fun. No doubt promiscuity is fun. I had a great time while I was doing it. In the moment, it felt great, but it was empty. At the end of the day, I heard somebody say, when a man is off of his purpose is when he diverts to pleasure. And I can tell you that's 100% true. Because when I'm getting after my purpose in life, yeah, I mean, of course I want to have sex, but it's not like it doesn't become the main thing. So I think a lot of guys that make that the main thing is like, what's your purpose? Because if you were getting after it, for me, I believe that women were created to be helpmates. They're there to help me accomplish my God-given mission. And if I can do that with 3 women instead of 1, then I think God's okay with it. But I'm not going to get women to help me with my mission if I'm just screwing them and throwing them back in the water. They're going to think I'm an asshole. And this is how it always played out for me. It didn't matter how honest I was, because you could say, well, I tell the girls, I used to tell them too. I would even say, don't have sex with me because I'm not looking for anything. And they'd be like, no problem. And they would say, that's okay. We can just have sex. 100% of the time, I became the asshole as soon as I didn't want to only have sex with them. Now, again, I'm not saying that we need to be monogamous, but if you're upfront and you say, listen, like I told my wife, I'll never cheat on you and I'll never divorce you. There may be other wives. Okay. But I'm never going to cheat on you. I'm never going to divorce you. So now she's on board, and she helps me a lot with my mission. And any woman if I have to marry anymore, they'll do the same. So that's what I would tell you is like, man, like, let's figure out what your purpose is and get dialed in. And you may know it. I'm not taking a shot at you, but then let's get some women to help you with that. And then as many as you can cover, as many as you're going to protect and provide for, God's okay with. You can have 10 wives, and God's fine with that. But why just use them? For lack of a better term, why just have sex with them and throw them back in the water? Because that's a man's future wife that you're banging.